So I was reading a recent news article, and it was covering a topic that Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, was saying that Americans don't want to go to work. And apparently, he believes that Americans are flush with cash and they're just lazy. And the reason why they have so much money and the reason why they don't want to go to work is for the fact that they've received so much money through stimulus checks in the past, through the CARES Act during the pandemic, and that so many Americans are sitting on all this money that they just refuse to go to work. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, I don't think there was that much money distributed through the CARES Act, through stimulus checks to the American people. And on top of that, I don't think everybody got the checks. Even if the people were rightfully owed these checks and qualified for these checks, there were some cracks in the system that prevented people from receiving them or going to the wrong address or not hitting their bank accounts or I think at one point they used some form of a debit card or preloaded prepaid card for it, and those weren't working like they should, or they were going to the wrong people, or they were getting lost in the mail. Had some postal carriers and delivery folks out there uh, taking checks out of mailboxes. A lot of fraud going on, and I don't think that Mitch McConnell really understands and knows what the American people are going through. And the statement that he made that Americans will go back to work when they run out of money because they're flush with cash from stimulus checks is to me 100% false. I think America wants to go back to work. I think there's a large portion of America that is working. And even though there are unemployment numbers and job reports and jobless reports out that say we're the right now the country is in the best position it's ever been as far as the job market goes and people being employed and the unemployment rates being low. Now, I don't believe that's 100% accurate. However, I do believe Americans want to work. I think that the businesses are manipulating these numbers. I think the reports are being manipulated to paint a better picture for certain political parties. But I think that people want to work. I think the American people want to work. I think they need to work. I don't think a mass majority of Americans are flush with cash from stimulus checks and don't need to or want to go to work. I don't think that's the case. But I do think that businesses are making it harder for people to go to work. I think businesses are making it harder for people who have these jobs to earn better wages, to get the hours that they need to afford the lifestyles that are out there, normal lifestyles that are just being increased. The costs are being increased because of inflation and other regulations that are driving up costs across the board in energy, electrical, the power bill, water bill, property taxes. Interest rates are going up. If you have an adjustable rate mortgage, your payment's going to go up. The Fed is hiking interest rates. Another interest rate hike is planned for September, at least another 75 basis points, which would be historic for the Fed to increase interest rates by 75 basis points 3 times in a row. And any debts that are owed on credit cards are going to be the interest is going to increase, and either your monthly minimum is going to increase and or the amount of the payment that goes towards the principal balance is going to decrease, making it harder for you to pay off that debt and longer for it to occur if you're making minimum payments. Now, if you have a credit card and you carry a balance and you're making minimum payments, then that is a surefire way to stay in debt, buried underwater, and drowning in interest for a very long time. Credit cards are designed to keep you broke, but if you know how to use them properly and responsibly, then you can use them to your advantage. Maybe even earn some points and some free trips and some travel and some airfare or something like that. But if you're using them irresponsibly, incorrectly, and making minimum payments, then you'll forever be in debt to that credit card. And it'll be if you actually look at your credit card statement, it'll show you how long it'll take you to pay off the balance that you currently have if you only make minimum payments. And typically it's several years just to pay off a few $1,000s. So they're making tons of money off of you and off the interest, and you'll just forever be in that debt. And then if that credit card is actually used for an emergency purpose, it won't be available to you because your balance is tied up, because you're not chipping away at the principal to have the available credit in the event that you need it for an emergency. But that's besides the point. I think that, those the folks that are voted into power, into these positions in Washington, the lawmakers, the politicians, they're they're beginning they're being further pushed away from the reality of the people. Maybe not all of them, but some of them, with statements like Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, saying that Americans are flush with cash, and they just don't want to go to work because they have all this money from stimulus. And that just shows a huge disconnect from the real people, and reality, and what's really going on, and the struggles that people are facing, just trying to buy groceries, just trying to put gas in their gas tank, just trying to pay their rent, just trying to just survive day to day. And meanwhile, some businesses making record profits, and holding their employees back, and not allowing them the ability to succeed with the company. And ultimately, they're creating a society and a community and a consumer base of folks that work for these companies but could never afford to buy things from these companies. And that's what keeps the economy going. Like, that's the lifeblood. You know, if Walmart decides not to pay its employees a reasonable wage to afford the products that they have, that are seeing price increases because of inflation, then ultimately those employees won't be able to buy the goods that are on the shelves at those stores. And that's going to be a reduction of their sales revenue and ultimately profits, as these employees then have to leave the company and either go somewhere else to make more money, or just decide that, it's not worth it to work for a company that at the end of the day, I'm still in the hole. I'd rather not work, which we're seeing more and more of this in the form of quiet quitting at work, where people still have a job, but they're just not doing it. They're doing enough to get by and make sure they get their paycheck every Friday or every 2 weeks. And they're quiet quitting until the company decides to do a mass layoff, and cut everybody anyway, even those who are really busting their hump to make sure that everything is going according to plan. The company's profiting, and they're really giving their all to earn that paycheck. But at the end of the day, the companies, they have no remorse. They have no feelings towards the employees whatsoever. They don't care what happens. All they care about is their bottom line on their balance sheet and their profit and loss statements. And they'll cut anybody at any time, no matter who they are, to save themselves and make more money. And, we'll see more and more people quit. We'll see more and more people move towards a lifestyle of homelessness, not necessarily being like extremely like poor, or possibly like, begging for money on a corner, but people will move more towards the possibility of homelessness, living out of cars, trucks, vans, RVs, just to save money, and changing how they go to work, what kind of work they do, and really focusing more on their own survival than giving their all to a company that doesn't care about them.